All right, so today's question comes from Steven, and Steven says, I have saved up $1,000 to start my business. Do you think that is enough? Okay, so let's qualify this first. I think we have to understand what type of business you're starting. So I'm going to leave that up to you. But if you're starting something offline that's going to require a lot of capital, if you want to start your own construction company that's going to require you to have a lot of machinery and equipment or investments, that's an entire different conversation. So I'm going to trust you to be able to determine what it is that you're actually going to need. But I will say this, regardless of that situation, even if you feel like you don't have enough resources, because I would tell you this, I like to see 6 to 12 months of money saved up, meaning you could go 6 to 12 months doing absolutely nothing and still have your basic needs met. The reason being is that you want to create urgency, not desperation. And too many entrepreneurs find themselves in a quick area where they become desperate, where this has to work, or they're out of luck and they're scrambling for a job and then they have a bad experience. And it wasn't the fact that the business failed, it's the fact they didn't put themselves in positions to succeed. So I would say, to answer your question abruptly and quickly, I would say $1,000 no is not enough, but I'm going to get to what you can do because I don't want to steal your hopes and dreams about starting this business, all right? So here's the deal. You have a big opportunity here to be resourceful. When you don't have resources, you have to be resourceful. So what does that mean? Find areas of opportunity with regardless of what your business is, where you can get what you need at a fraction of a cost, where you can accommodate your means without having to go out and say, okay, well, I just want to go pay for full price, right? So that could be, for example, if you're starting a YouTube channel, okay, what can I use that I already have right now that can get by and accommodate this? Maybe I don't have this grandiose setup, so I pick a corner of a room that I already have and I make that my studio and I use my iPhone, and that's what I'm going to use from now. And it's not going to be great, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be viable. It's going to be a great first step of accomplishing what I need to accomplish. Can I find a refurbished option? Can I look on eBay and look for something that somebody's selling at a discount because it's used already? So some people, what they do is they think, and entrepreneurs are bad about this, if they can't have it all right now, then it's not worth pursuing at all. There's a huge opportunity. Damon John wrote the book, The Power of Broke. And one of the things that I love about that is it focuses on people that had wild success even when they started with nothing. There's so much you're going to learn right now. And I'm not saying you're broke because you're not. $1,000 saved up is a lot more than what a lot of people have. It truly is. But what you want to do is lean into this opportunity. Don't look at it as a negative. Look at it as a positive. What can I do with this $1,000? How far can I stretch it? How can I learn to manage that $1,000? Because then at one point when you are successful and you have a lot more than $1,000, you're going to be prepared to keep being resourceful and being fiscally responsible. And a lot of business owners, specifically people that just go out and raise money, and maybe they're lucky enough to get money and get somebody to write them a check, they're not ready for it, and they end up blowing it all, and then they're off to the next business pursuit. So there's a huge opportunity you have here, a lot of learning opportunities you have here, so please lean into that because it's something that I've experienced and many successful entrepreneurs that I know, that's exactly what they've done. So look at it as an opportunity, see it as an opportunity, learn to be resourceful. It is one of the most powerful, probably the most powerful skill that you can acquire as an entrepreneur. Okay, so my next piece of advice for you is, and this kind of goes to the mechanical side, right? The practical things of what you're going to do here. So I have two options for you, and I'm going to tell you which usually fits into which bucket. You can be a night and a weekend warrior, or you can be a side hustler. Those are the two paths that I recommend to both my students and my clients alike. Night and weekend warrior, what does that mean? What it means is you're going to keep your 9-to-5 job. If you have one now, you're going to keep that. Or you're going to go get one, and you're going to have that security and that stability in your life. Then what you're going to do is you're going to carve out 4 hours a day, if possible, right? You can break it down however you'd like to. It really doesn't matter. It's totally up to you to work on your business. Then you also are going to use the weekends. So maybe what you do is you say, I'm pooped after my workday. There's no way I can work 4 hours in a day. Okay, fine. Then what you need to do is you need to work full-time on your business on the weekends, right? So you need to hit that 20-hour mark is really what you're looking for. So maybe you put in an hour here, hour there on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then you're working full-time 8 hours on Saturdays and Sundays, right? That's what it's going to require. And in fact, I want to give you a word of encouragement here. I have a friend, and I've seen many people do this, but somebody that I personally know that built a 7-figure business with a full-time job as an engineer before he even left to go run his business. Now, imagine leaving a job, being able to walk into a business like that that's 7 figures, where you can pay yourself far more than what you were making before and start hiring, right out of the gates, versus starting something from scratch and being desperate and getting evicted or not having food and having to come up with rent and all this. It's just not a fun experience, and I'm speaking from experience on that, I promise you. So that's your first option. So night and weekend warrior, if that looks appealing to you. Now, let's say you're like, I want this to be my full-time thing, and I want to go for it now, and I'm fed up, and I hate my job, and I hate working for somebody else. That's who I was, and this is the route that I went. I'll tell you what that looks like. So you're going to be a side hustler. What that means is this: you do not want to have to rely on your business to provide for itself, but then also to provide for you right out of the gates. It's going to be a very stressful experience, and you may get out of it and you may grow from it. I certainly did. And I actually grew my business rampantly because of that experience, but it was more painful than it needed to be. I could have created that urgency, not the desperation that I needed, by having enough side hustles. And in fact, I did have side hustles, just not as many as I actually needed. And I wasn't persistent about keeping those, right? So some various side hustles you could look into. I'm going to leave it up to you, but now it's never been more prominent than it is today. You could literally put your sofa on Airbnb and just rent that out, or an extra bedroom, right? You could do that. You could drive for Uber Eats or DoorDash. You could actually do Uber yourself. There's a million different opportunities that you have where you could maybe downgrade your lifestyle, downgrade your standards a little bit, and get by off of those side hustles. So figure out, you're going to want to make decisions based on numbers. Look at your finances, both personally and professionally with the business, and what you're making in accordance with that, and decide which path you want to go. Usually I see my younger folks going the side hustle route because they can go crazy and be up till 2 a.m. They can drive their friends home from the bar on Uber because they're already out and that's just part of their lifestyle already. People that are older, that have responsibilities and mortgages and kids and, real expenses, side hustler's not going to work. You're not going to pay for your kid's private school and for your mortgage, and you can't risk that, right? You can't get a roommate to come into your home and split the mortgage with you. I guess you could. It'd be a little weird, but that's not a typical situation that you're going to put yourself in. So it depends on where you are in life, and it also depends on the sacrifices you're willing to make, because there will be sacrifices. So what's the trade-off, and what are the sacrifices that you're willing to deal with temporarily while you're going through this process? So again, that's going to really be a decision that only you can make, and contingent upon the business you want to start and the lifestyle that you want to lead. And the last piece of advice I have for you is focus on a basic iteration. I mentioned before, I don't know your specific business, that wasn't outlined, but you want to focus on what a basic iteration of that would be. So many people, they want to jump to, and I have a student, for example, a client that wanted to have this massive facility, and that's his goal, that's his dream, but it's going to cost like $20 million to build that. And so his whole thing, and a lot of entrepreneurs do this, the whole goal becomes raising money. It's not about building a business. It's about getting the money to go do that. And the problem is you're still an idiot. You have no idea what you're doing. You just have money now. That's the only difference. You need to learn and grow. And how you learn and grow is what I call crawl, walk, run. So 3 phases of starting a business: crawl, walk, run. And I outline that in Startup Launch Factory, which is our flagship program inside of Startup U. Each and every one of those phases is an opportunity for you to go through the process to learn, right? You wouldn't jump into just giving somebody brain surgery. You go to school for it. You practice. You watch somebody else. You mentor. You shadow. Whatever it is that it looks like, there's a process going through that. Starting a business is no different. So even if you could raise the money, do you really want to? Because you don't really necessarily know what you're doing just yet. I'm not saying sit on the sidelines forever. I'm saying that enjoy and embrace the process. I always say this: you can do the steps faster, but you can't skip the steps. So embrace the journey, embrace the steps. Don't look for just the destination. Focus on what a basic iteration of that business looks like. Does that involve you collaborating with other people that are already doing what you're doing? Does that involve you doing something on a one-on-one basis? Maybe you want to create an internet company, but first you want to do something one-on-one. So you go to the local farmers market, or you go to local chapters, or you do one-on-one coaching, whatever that looks like. And in some cases, if that's not possible, what you can do, and in many cases I've talked about this, talked about it in a previous video, I'll link it here. You can go work in the industry and use it as a paid internship. Phenomenal opportunity for you to accomplish both. We talked about night and weekend warrior. Now you can be a night and weekend warrior with a job in the industry you want to start a business in. There's no better way to be able to take advantage of learning what you're actually doing and getting paid for, and then implementing it into the business that you want to start, and being able to do that and slowly grow it on the side, as long as you're committed and staying persistent and creating urgency to actually take those steps forward. So that's my advice for you. I hope it goes well for you, Steven. Great question. I definitely wanted to address it. For more like this, guys, this is what we do on the Startup U TV. We answer your business questions. So drop your question in the comments below. You can also connect with me on social media. So at HeyCMH is where I'm at on all social media platforms. If it ain't HeyCMH, it's not me. All right. So at HeyCMH is where you want to find me. Don't forget, while you're here, if you could, I always say it's like leaving a tip for your waiter or your waitress. Hit like, hit subscribe for more videos like this, and leave me a comment below. It all helps that YouTube algorithm. And pro tip, if you want to see more videos like this, the algorithm actually prefers that you actually hit the bell for notifications. If you don't hit the bell, you probably won't see my videos again. And if you are a business owner, you're going to want to make sure you're staying on top of these type of things. So look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Hope this was helpful, and we'll see you soon.